Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. We're going to be talking about how to find meaning in seemingly meaningless work. I know I personally struggled with this growing up, and I'm sure some of you guys can probably relate to that. You know, it's really difficult when you're working a 9 to 5 job and you have this greater vision in your mind of who you want to be to really just find value and meaning in the work that you're currently doing, and to have that foresight of what you would like yourself to be in the future and how what you're doing right now directly is going to somehow influence and impact in a greater way the future you. So I decided to sit down with my grandfather because he has 60 plus years more experience when it comes to potentially finding value or meaning in seemingly meaningless work. And in this video, we're going to talk about number one, how embracing the challenge that your current job offers you or presents to you can contribute to you becoming a greater version of yourself. What to do if you feel like there's no meaning in the work you're currently doing. And the third and probably the most important thing we'll cover in this video is the true value in purpose. And as always, I put timestamps in this video so I don't waste your time. Be sure to slide your finger across the screen to see which topic's being discussed. Maybe you can skip to a topic that interests you more than another. The process and the transition and the perspectives it takes when you're a young adult entering the workforce, having the foresight to see that there is meaning in a seemingly meaningless job, that it may seem like I'm working this 9 to 5 job that maybe is like at a warehouse, but you have these dreams in the back of your mind of owning, I don't know, a shoe company or working in finance, but you're supplementing your income right now in order to make ends meet so you can get to your main objective and your main goal or your purpose in life. How do you cultivate a mindset to push you through the years that it might take in order for you to get to that level?
Let me give you a brief snapshot of my job or career journey. When I finished Providence College, my thoughts were, as a young athlete, that I'd love to play pro ball, and that wasn't going to happen. And I had a family. I needed work. I needed a paycheck. So I was fortunate enough because I took education as a major in college. So my first job was high school teacher. And I found that rewarding. But what happened was I got a call from one of my high school coaches who said, look, there's a pharmaceutical company that's looking to hire African Americans. It's specifically, and would you be interested? And it wasn't easy. I said to him, well, my grades in chemistry wasn't that great. He said, look, go down, take the interview, see what happens. I went down, took the interview. They said, look, we'd like for you to work with us. It was a challenge for me because it was totally different. And I found that energizing. It kept me on my toes, and I didn't want to fail. And then I ended up doing pretty well as a pharmaceutical representative. My territory was Harlem, and there were ongoing events of meeting interesting people. So there was a lot of very positive nuance in working as a pharmaceutical rep. At the same time, I was taking care of my family. We were living at that particular time in New Jersey. So I was able to play some basketball as well. So I had some interest, and I was playing in a Rutgers tournament, which you've probably heard of, and it's been on TV. So I had a chance to kind of test my skills, my basketball skills, against some legends, if you will, and some very, very talented individuals. So I had various interests and challenges in my life. So it was meaningful. My job career was based on phone calls. I got a phone call as I was working as a pharmaceutical salesman from a headhunter who said, look, I got your name, some individuals. There may be an opportunity for you in Hartford, Connecticut. I said, really? Said, yeah, it's with an insurance company. I said, insurance? I have no idea, other than having insurance, what insurance was all about. So here we go again, right? Another challenge. And and it ended up that I would be working in the pension area of Aetna Inc., which is now CBS. I ended up working in their pension department and found that of great interest and had the opportunity to raise in the ranks, become a vice president of one of their capital investment units and an assistant vice president overall. So I did that for a number of years. And then another phone call. And this was from a friend of mine. Larry was the president at the time of Wilshire Associates, a huge, very prominent financial consulting firm in Los Angeles. And we had met each other throughout the years. And he said, look, there's a company that I'm sure you've heard of. They're in Boston, and I know the president. I told him about you, and he said he would like to meet you. Well, it turned out to be Fidelity. And
Wow.
Fidelity, you know, is one of the largest investment companies, enterprises in the world. But we got along. I was hired as a senior vice president of Fidelity on the international side. I did that for a number of years until your grandma died, and I left and started Spencer Partners. What's important is my journey is not your normal course, I would say. So I'm very careful about that, but it should be known because things like that do occur and they come out of the blue. And the environment I was in is not anywhere near the current environment we find ourselves in now. You've got COVID, you've got civil and political strife, you've got the Israeli, Hamas, the Palestinian conflict. How does that filter into your job? You know, hopefully the position that you're currently in or that you were in, if it wasn't meaningful, then I hope folks ask themselves, why not? Why isn't it meaningful? How can I make it meaningful? What is it that makes it so? Is it the job itself? Is it the work itself that I'm involved in? Am I interacting with my colleagues? Do I feel good about my current position? Do I feel good about the possibility of promotions? And I helping? Am I assisting in the objectives of my unit or the company? These are all questions, reasonable questions you ask yourself. And if the answers are kind of mixed, then hopefully you have good relationships with either your supervisor or other individuals. Maybe you have a mentor and discuss your feelings about if it's boring or if you don't think it's a job that or position that'll lead to any worthwhile upper position. And hopefully that feedback will either say, you know, Elon, we think you have a lot of opportunity here. And here are some of the things that I'd like for you to do. That doesn't always happen, but it depends on you, that individual finding out, asking themselves, why is it that I find this meaningless?
If you were in the shoes of, let's say, an 18 to 20-year-old living right now, how would you embrace the challenges that you just addressed, finding a purpose or some sort of meaning and value in a job that they don't see a potential in, or they
Yeah,
don't see contributing to their long-term vision of what they want to do with their life?
the environment is so difficult today. And I'm careful when I say difficult, I should say challenging. 18 years old, 20 years old, first job, second job, whatever the situation, individuals want to do something that utilizes and encompasses their talents and skill sets. Many times, you know, at that age, you're just developing various skills, various talents, but either you know what it is that you eventually would like to do and or would kind of confide in either family or friends in regards to, hey, here's what I'd like to do, but I'm not getting the chance to do it. What should I do now? or here's what I like to do, and I'm able to do a little bit and exhibit a little bit my skills and talents, but not to the level that I would think is impactful. What should I do? So I'm saying that you confide and get guidance from people that you trust and can give you that type of feedback and guidance. The other thing is the purpose. At 18 and 19, it's difficult to be a mentor inside a lot of these jobs, but it's not difficult or challenging to be a mentor outside of it in regards to youngsters in our community whose surroundings are very challenging and may not have a dad in the house, mom's working. If one is feeling they feel they're meaningless in their jobs, then they may find some gratitude and fulfillment in doing external things that provide that kind of meaning and purpose.
I've heard you talk about how you transitioned from being in basketball, working towards this goal of making it to the league one day, and then transitioning from there into pharmaceutical sales, and then from there into life insurance. And then from there, you were the manager or the vice president, and then you worked your way up to Fidelity after that, and then you went on to establish your own business. So with each level that you talked about, you said you embraced the challenge that it brought. And I'm just wondering, I know we've talked about this in the past, in our past episodes. That's how you're wired. And I'm just thinking from the outside perspective of someone maybe that doesn't really have that fire in them, especially when they're met with challenge and obstacles, and maybe the world that we're living in right now where everything seems to be speeding up and there's a lot of distractions. How do you embrace the challenge? How would you light that fire under you? And what would you say to someone that's maybe struggling with embracing the challenge, and how you were able to shift your focus and your goals as life progressed?
For myself, and I'm careful of that. I don't want to be too subjective, but as you pointed out, that's just the way I was wired. Where did that come from? Maybe I was born with it. My dad was a factory worker, my mom domestic. The first person to go to college was an uncle whom I just adored and looked up to. And if I was to say who presented a little bit of that, of what it is you want to do, I think I told you that I was having problems with the coach at Providence College. And I went back to my uncle and said, look, I want out of here and maybe transfer to another school. And he said to me, you want to be a jock or you want to get an education? That stunned me. He was challenging me in regards to purpose. I didn't realize it at the time, but as you and I are talking, that was purpose. He says, Carl, what's your purpose? I mean, what is it that you want to do? Even if you play basketball, what is your purpose? Is it just to bounce the ball? And at that time, you weren't making a lot of money, very little, not like the folks today. And so as I was watching some of the games today, and you have these awards coming up about the athletes working in the communities, I find that of some purpose in their lives, not just playing sports, but realizing what's around them. And is this something that will give you personally gratitude and purpose in your life when you're helping and assisting others?
Mm-hmm.
This program that you found, you said to yourself and said to me, Grandpa, I mean, I would like to kind of do this wisdom series. Well, I ask you, so what's the purpose? I'll let you answer that. But you had a purpose. My purpose was to give you as much input, honestly, candidly, and hopefully rewarding enough to share with your audience. So, what was your purpose?
I've been on such a long road of self improvement, self discovery. I think life is honestly just one big continuous self-improvement journey, and there's milestones that you're always going to reach until you leave this earth. That's just how I view it. And you should be
Mhm.
continuously trying to improve. And then while you improve, you always want to bring up anyone else that's at where you were before. So my purpose is to speak to someone that was in my shoes maybe 5, 10 years ago and tell them exactly what I wish I would have heard, but in a way where it's very relatable to them, because the information that I received when I was younger just wasn't relatable. It was like older men, like 60s, 50s. I wanted someone younger to really just talk to me. I wanted a platform where it's just authentic. And I think what we're doing right now is it's super satisfying to me. Like, I feel like this is going to be around forever. The audience is growing tremendously. People are loving this stuff. And more importantly, we're like really making an impact in people's lives. I'm getting a lot of emails from all over, and people just love hearing what we have to talk about, and we're helping people. And that's what I believe life is about.